So take-home quiz number 1. Let's see here. Oh, I get to introduce you to my favorite student. My favorite student's name is... She gets everything right. Can you read that out? What does it say? Ann Serkey. She gets everything right. It's amazing. Some of you haven't figured it out. You'll get a joke eventually. Here we go. Answer. Oh, answer. Oh, I get. Okay, here we go. Name. Lithium. Right? Li. Oh, by the way, what I would just do, put check marks. Each one of these is going to be a half mark. It's going to be 27 marks grand total. Atomic number, I'm going, you know what? Let's see how good I am. Periodic table is upside down. Atomic number 3, right? 3 protons. Lithium, does it have 3 neutrons or 2 neutrons? 3, is it? 4. That's right. That's where it already starts going up by 1. You're right. Fascinating. Shut up. Here we go. 3 electrons. There's 1 electron in the valence shell. I got that just from counting over from the left. It's in the first column. Everything in that first column has 1 electron. Hey, by the way, what do we call that first column there? They have a fancy name. They're the something metals. Alkali metals, and Matt likes them because, yes, they tend to explode. Well, I got to be careful. They don't explode. What they do when you drop them in water, since water is hydrogen and oxygen, they rip the hydrogen off of the water because they want to bond with the oxygen. So the hydrogen is a gas now. It floats up, and hydrogen is very flammable. But this chemical reaction also gives off enough heat to ignite the hydrogen, which is technically all of that is not an explosion. It's a lovely chemical reaction. How many electron shells? 2 and 2, because the period number is the number of electron shells. It's how far down, how many rows down it is, and it's family number 1. Atomic number 12, sodium I know is 11, so it's going to be the one right next to sodium, which is, come on brain, magnesium, no, yeah, holy smokes, good guess. Magnesium, I didn't leave you much room to write the name, I know. You may notice I hardly ever write the name. I use the symbol. Why not? I tend to abbreviate. M, lowercase g. Atomic number 12, that means 12 protons. That also means 12 electrons. How many neutrons? I think this one has 12 neutrons, yeah? Because it's 24, take away 12. Again, don't always think the number of neutrons is the same as the number of protons. You saw with lithium, it wasn't. And especially as you get further down, way more neutrons than protons, which is why some of those radioactive elements are unstable. Number of valence electrons, 2. It's in period 3, so it has 3 shells. And it's in family number 2. Neon, I cheated, I looked back there. It's element 10. Its symbol is Ne. By the way, what's capital N, not neon? Which one has capital N? Which element? Yeah, nitrogen. So yeah, once we used up all the first letters, then we started adding a lowercase second letter. Every element, the rule is first letter has to be capitalized, second letter, if there is one, is lowercase. And then there's some of the weird ones at the bottom that are placeholders. Those are 3 letters, like the UU, whatever. Those are only placeholders until we decide what to name them. So the periodic table that you get next year might have some of those filled in. Maybe not. 10 protons, 10 electrons. Neon, how many neutrons? Also 10? Okay. How many valence electrons? 8. It has a full valence shell, which is why it's so stable. Why are the noble gases so stable? 3 words, full valence shells. How many electron shells? 2. Period number 2. Family number 18. Number of protons, 17, so that means it's atomic number 17. That also means it's got 17 electrons. What is element 17? Fluorine? Chlorine. Cl. No, hang on, the name goes here. Chlorine, Cl. How many neutrons does chlorine have? Is it also 17 again? 18. 18 or 17? 17? 19. Okay. So it's 30. Its atomic mass is 36. Okay. When you round off properly. Number of valence electrons. Oh, what are there? 7. Which means it only needs one more to have a full valence shell, which means it's pretty reactive. Chlorine, yeah. It would burn you if you pour. Well, it's why it's good in bleach. It's good to clean stuff. It especially really, really likes organic molecules, which is why it's so good as a disinfectant to kill germs. How many electron shells? 3. Period number 3. Family number 17, the halogens. 13 electrons. If it's neutral, that means it's got 13 protons. That means it's atomic number 13. Is that Al? Is that our friend Al? Aluminum? Aluminum. How many neutrons does aluminum have? Sorry? 14 or? Yeah. Answer. Yeah. So the rule for rounding is if this number is 5 or bigger, you bump it up. 4 or less, you bump it down. Good question. I picked that one on purpose because it is a 5, by the way. That was mean of me, but that's the one that kids always... Because if it's 35.9, yeah, it's 36. Or if it's 35.1, yeah, it's 35. 0.5, that's the rule. That's when you bump it up. Sorry, how many neutrons does aluminum have? 14? So it has a mass of 27 when you round off. How many valence electrons? 3. How many electron shells? 1, 2, 3 as well, because it's in period number 3. And it's in row 13, is that right? Yeah. 38, I got no idea. Hang on, maybe I can read from back. Oh, did I pick strontium? Yeah. Okay. So that's SR. It's atomic number 38, and it is strontium, which is a metal. Some of the stuff that I've taught you when you go this far down the periodic table starts to break down. That's why we're staying near the top most of the time. But it will have 38 electrons. How many neutrons? That's a good... 50? Wow. How many valence electrons? 2. How many electron shells? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's in period number 5 and it's in family number 2. So you can give yourself a little score out of 27 right there, half mark off for each mistake. Number 2. Identify the elements whose Bohr model diagrams are shown below. How do I know none of these is an ion? Because if it was an ion, square brackets, an ion charge, and each valence shell would be full. And I notice a lot of these valence shells, it's the 2, 8, 8, 18 rule. In fact, sometimes you'll hear it called, because there's 8s in there, the octet rule, because octagon means 8. So you'll see some people say, oh, an atom wants a stable octet, which is true. 4 electrons, I think that means I can assume 4 protons. Beryllium, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is carbon, yeah? How many electrons does carbon need to fill up its shell? 4. How many does it need to lose to empty its shell? 4. This is why carbon creates so many compounds. It can go in either direction. It can gain or it can lose. Again, I said it before, but it's not a coincidence that you're carbon-based life forms. Yes? Carbon is so special, there's an entire course in university, in fact, probably 2 or 3 courses in university devoted to it called organic chemistry. The answer I'm going to give you right now is yes. The answer I'm going to give you right now is this year I'll probably avoid stuff with carbon because the rules are weird. Next year in Science 10, you will do a short little section on organic chemistry, and then you'll see in those molecules it behaves like a metal. Sorry, I gotta be careful. In those molecules, it forms covalent bonds, which you don't know about yet. I didn't give you an answer on purpose because it's a more complicated question than you asked. It's a good question. This course is designed around it. Neon, is that right? No? Yeah, oh, okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Nah. 2, 4, 6, 8. Chlorine. We're one shy of a full valence shell, so it's a halogen. Yeah, chlorine. 1, 2, 3, and 2 extra calcium. An element has 76 protons and 114 neutrons. What will its atomic mass be? 190? Yeah. By the way, what element is this if it has 76 protons? Osmium? What is the mass of osmium? 190.2? Okay. Can you give yourself a lovely score out of 34, please?